Hi everybody, it's Mike with World War II Revisited. Thanks for joining me for my very first video post. Today we're going to take a look at one of the rarer rifles of World War II, and that is the Japanese Arisaka Type 2 Paratrooper rifle. And this is one of about 21,200 that were produced. Many of the mainstream rifles of the war were produced in the millions of units. This one not so, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Of course, with any firearm, we're going to check and make sure that it's cleared, not loaded. There's no risk of a discharge. This rifle here was designed for airborne forces specifically. World War II is the first event where airborne forces were employed in large numbers by a number of the combatants. The Japanese were looking to join that crowd as well. They did not have a purpose-built rifle until, well, there was a few failed attempts, but then finally the Type 2 here. This is a modification of the Arasaka Type 99, and what makes it unique is the very simple mechanism that they came up with to make this a takedown rifle. By removing this threaded wedge, the rifle could be broken down into two pieces and packed into a bag for the paratrooper to jump with. Very easy to reassemble once on the ground as well. I wouldn't say it was a completely successful weapon, but it did get the job done. For the Japanese, however, their airborne forces were not widely employed in World War II, unlike the American, the British, or even the German forces. This rifle is also unique in another way, and I'm going to show the detail here. All Japanese rifles were originally issued with the Imperial Chrysanthemum, the flower here, also known as the mum among collectors. The chrysanthemum is the symbol of the emperor, so this is his weapon. If the chrysanthemum is intact, as it is on this rifle, that means the rifle was probably a battlefield pickup. Meaning some GI, some American soldier picked it up in the middle of a battle and somehow got it back to the United States as a souvenir. If the rifle was surrendered at the end of the war, the chrysanthemum was ground or struck through or maybe completely removed so that it was not a shaming to the emperor that his weapons had been given over. So the fact that the chrysanthemum is intact on this rifle makes it far more collectible and desirable. If you take a look at the two halves here, you can see how it attaches with the special hardware. This rifle was issued in 7.7 millimeter caliber and is mechanically otherwise the same as the mainstream Type 99 Arasaka rifle that was typically carried by the Japanese forces. The other reason I have this particular rifle out today is to talk a little bit about bayonets. So this is a bayonet for the Arasaka series, a Type 30 bayonet. And a lot of folks know about bayonets and you can attach them to a rifle, but a lot of people don't know that a bayonet is specific to a type of rifle, and not every rifle can mount a bayonet. What a rifle requires is a bayonet lug. In this case, on the Arasaka, this is it right here. Without the lug, you cannot attach a bayonet. The slot right here in the back of the bayonet and the locking mechanism are what make everything go together properly. And a fix. So I'll put that on, lock it on, and we now have a mounted bayonet on an Arasaka rifle. The release button is then depressed and the bayonet can be removed. If you do not have a bayonet lug, you can't mount a bayonet. It's pretty much that simple. There are some other rifles out there that had permanently fixed bayonets, and we'll talk more about those in future posts. With the bayonet itself, wanted to just give you a quick look at the typical Arasaka piece. They didn't really change much during the war. What is interesting is this is an earlier model with a hooked quillone. That's what this is called here. And what that hook would be for is in bayonet fighting, you can actually hook and lock your opponent's bayonet and twist it potentially out of his hand. What they found during the actual battles of World War II was that this hook quillone would catch on every single type of vegetation, tree branch or vine in the South Pacific. So later these were issued without that hook, and they were often even removed in real time out in the field. And then this is a scabbard that fits with this particular bayonet. On this rifle, I want to show you as well that it disassembles very easy for cleaning. Take out the bolt. And something kind of interesting and peculiar to some of the Arasakas is this very interesting and complicated sight. This one I got a little stickiness to. That is called an airplane sight. The theory was that the arms on either side give you some lead factor for shooting at airplanes. I don't know of a single documented case where that actually worked, but that's actually the thinking behind it. Somewhat impractical, certainly fragile, and they break very frequently. You'll often see an Arasaka rifle either missing this unit or it's just snapped off. Now to put it back together, very simple. The two halves go right back. Your threaded wedge goes back into place and you just tighten it down. Very simple, very effective in terms of the disassembly and the reassembly. Of course, my question is, if I was the soldier using this and I lost the wedge, what would happen? And I'm sure it probably did. But anyway, that's a quick look at the Japanese Arisaka Type 2 Paratrooper rifle. I hope you enjoyed this post. We're going to be, if we're not already, on Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, and who knows what else coming. So be sure to check things out. I hope you like the content, and please follow, share, and all of that, and see you real soon. Thank you.